Hey guys, it's Amanda with Lace Cosmetics, and I am here for another edition of You Ask and I Answer, where you ask me on social media all of your burning makeup questions and I answer them for you. So today's question comes from Anne, and she said, what exactly is a primer and why do I need it? Now, Anne, I can't imagine why you would be getting confused over what primer to use. I mean, there's original, pore minimizing, blurring, hydrating. They're yellow primers, purple, green, peach. There are oils, serums, gels, creams. There's water-based, there's silicone-based, there's SPF, tinted, mineral-based. Oh my gosh, why are there so many primers? What do they do? What is the difference? I'm here to help. Don't worry. First of all, a primer is something that you put on before you put on your makeup. There are primers for face, there are primers for lips, there are primers for eyeshadow, there are primers for mascara. So we're gonna focus on face primer today. And face primer is something that you put on before you put on your makeup. Think of a primer like something you put underneath paint. You prime your walls first, or if you're painting a car, you prime the car first, and then you do the paint job. And that's going to give a nice smooth clean surface for the paint to go onto and adhere to, and it's going to last longer, it's going to look better, it's going to be smoother. Primers actually do more than just that, and a lot of people think it's just for being a base underneath your makeup, but it actually will help you lock in the moisturizer that you've put on your skin, lock on your SPF. It's going to help protect your skin from the air pollution that's constantly hitting it throughout the day. It does a lot, so it's actually quite an important step before you put your makeup on, and it's one that a lot of people skip over. So there are a million different types of primers. We're going to dive into them a little bit, and hopefully you'll find the primer that works best for your skin. So first thing we're going to do when we're looking for a primer is we're going to see what your skin type is. Do you have normal skin? Are you dry? Are you oily? Are you aging? Do you have a lot of wrinkles? Do you have sensitivity? Once you establish that, then we can kind of start narrowing things down. So with that, there are hydrating primers, mattifying, illuminating, blurring, and pore minimizing, which you might feel like you fall into a couple of those categories, which is fine. We're gonna work through this together. If you have normal skin, then good for you. Not many people have just normal skin. They're good to go unless you're just perfect in every way and we're all jealous. So if you have normal skin, you can go with just the original primers. I think the primer that stands out beyond all of them is the Smashbox original primer with silicone base. Everybody loved that one. Everybody still loves that one. Me personally, I'm oily, so I don't want to do a heavy silicone based primer. Now, silicone and dimethicone are two things to look at, and a lot of products will have both, but you know it's higher up on the ingredients list if you know silicone is first on the ingredient list. It's the most prominent ingredient in the product. So I prefer things that are dimethicone. It's not going to move around. It's not going to feel as slippery as a silicone base will. Oily skin, they do have the mattifying primers that you can choose from as well. That would be a good choice. If you're dry, do a hydrating primer. If you feel like you have big pores, there you can do either a pore minimizing primer or you can do a blurring primer. Blurring primers will kind of blur imperfections and blur the look of lines, blur the look of pores. Anything that says pore minimizing, you don't really minimize your pores. It's not going to shrink your pores. It's just going to make the appearance of your pores less. But there's still really awesome pore minimizing primers out there. I will list all of the primers that I know of and can recommend below, so you guys can check them out based on your skin type. And I will also put this in a Lace Cosmetics blog, so you guys can check that out and find the products through there. So once you figure out your skin type, the next thing that you're going to want to look at is your skin concern. Do you have age spots, sallow skin that's more on the yellow side, rosacea, and a lot of redness? These are things to look at, because then you can go into primers that can kind of color correct. Purple primers are for sallow skin. That's one thing people see a purple primer and they're like, so purple primers are going to correct sallow skin. You usually don't see people buying purple primers quite as often, but they're there if you need them. Green primers are made for if you have a lot of redness or rosacea in your skin. The green will balance out the redness. I need to find my color wheel so we can look at it. It's all color theory. Peach is fabulous if you have age spots, sunspots, any dark spots on your skin. It's going to help balance that out for you. So next up is the consistency of your primer. So you have your gels, you have oils, you have creams, you have serums. Different primers will do different things. Serums are really great. I like them in the winter or any time of year if you have really dry skin. Unless it's a certain kind of serum that dries down really well, then I don't suggest it for oily skin. There are foundation oils, which again, dry skin, it's gonna work best for you. Creams, pretty much anybody can use a cream. It just depends again on what that particular product is going to give you. If it gives you hydrating properties or blurring properties or, you know, whatever you need, then just look at that. Gels are great if you have oily skin or normal skin. And next is what the base is. I know this is getting really confusing, but really there's so many products out there that it's confusing. So there are water-based and there are silicone-based. Water-based I love because then I don't have so much of a slip when I'm putting it on. I don't want to feel like my fingers have Vaseline in between them when I'm moving the product between my fingers. So water-based is going to feel a bit more natural, whereas a silicone-based, you're gonna have that really heavy slip, which some people absolutely swear by. I personally don't love that feeling, but to each their own. Now there are a few other specialty products like tinted primers, primers with SPF, which you can never go wrong with putting SPF on your skin, and they're mineral based for people that are really sensitive, and they're going to be generally mica or silica based, and those can really be used on most people. It's really going to come down to trying them and seeing what works best for you. I'm going to list off a couple of the primers that I really like and I like to refer to my clients because I know that they're going to enjoy them and it's going to do the trick and hold your makeup on really, really well. First would be the original Smashbox primer. It's awesome. It's going to work, it has this slip to it and it's going to work with a lot of skin types. It's going to work really well with dry skin. It's going to work great with normal to combo skin. I don't like it as much for oily skin. They also have the priming water, which is a newer product and it's fantastic. It's going to go on really, I have one that's, I don't have that brand, but I have a priming water in my kit. I don't know if you can see it, but I mean, it's like a straight up, it looks like water and you have to get it out very carefully, but it feels so good on your skin. It doesn't feel heavy, which I really like. I hate it when things feel heavy and it feels just very lightweight. So Smashbox has the priming water that is fantastic. That's another one to check out. MAC Prep and Prime is another good one that's great for all skin types, but it doesn't have that really heavy silicone feel, though it does still have a slip. And I do have some in this kit. Looks like this. This is the Natural Radiant, but I mean, it just goes on so smooth and it gives a really fantastic base for your foundation. I feel like my skin always looks great when I wear this one. They also have an illuminating primer that you want to check out. If you feel like you have dull skin or you just need a little more radiance, their illuminating primer is fantastic as well. Put it all over and it's going to just show through your foundation enough where it looks like you have healthy skin, but it doesn't look like you have this crazy glow underneath your makeup. For my more mature skin types, there is the Laura Geller Spackle, which I love the name because women always say that they need spackle on their face. And Laura Geller has Spackle. It's a thicker primer. It's really great if you have wrinkles, lines. It's going to help to fill them in and make a bit more of a smooth surface for you. Your makeup isn't going to skip on the lines quite as much. You can't make lines disappear, but it's going to help for sure, so your makeup can go on a lot smoother. And if you have huge pores, it's also really great for that. They also do have a mattifying primer through the Laura Geller Spackle collection They have a mattifying primer, so fantastic if you still tend to get more on the oily side. One primer I tried recently that really kind of blew my mind was the Dermablend Instagrip Jelly Primer. It is wild. It has a very tacky, sticky feeling to it, which I thought was the craziest thing when I first tried it in a store. And then I bought it because I was just intrigued, and I used it for a while, and it's interesting because it feels kind of tacky when you put it on your skin, but then you get your makeup on and it grips your makeup and really holds it well, and you don't have that tacky feeling through your makeup. It's really cool, and I would actually suggest that for really any skin type. It's a cool product, and it's something I've never seen before, so good on you, Dermablend, for coming out and being original. The last one I'll mention is another huge fan favorite, and that is the Benefit Cosmetics Professional, which is going to give you a really nice blurred poreless look. So if you have really large pores, and again, if you have lines, it's going to look great for you as well. But you put it on, it's going to help lessen the appearance of your pores and kind of blur the look of them. And then, like I said, help with lines as well. It gives a really awesome base for your makeup, and I can definitely see why people constantly flock to this product. It's fantastic. Now, a few questions you might be asking are the primers going to clog your pores? And the answer is maybe. Maybe yes, maybe no. It depends on the product that you get, and if you get a product with really good ingredients, it's likely not going to clog your pores as much. If you get some of the lower end primers, it's very possible that it could have ingredients that will clog your pores or irritate your skin. So you just kind of have to educate yourself on it and find what is going to be better. The ones that I have listed are really great, so you shouldn't have problems with any of those. How do you apply the primer? You can apply with your fingers. Your fingers are your best little applicators. You can apply with a brush, you can apply with a sponge. Personally, I like to apply my primer with my fingers. And the reason for that is that, first of all, you're warming up the product. As soon as it gets on your fingers, your body heat warms it up a little bit, and so it goes on a little smoother. And you can really get it into your skin and press it in and get it where it needs to be. Whereas sometimes if you use like a brush or something like that, it can put a little too thick of a coat on your skin, and it's going to kind of sit on top without being in your skin. It can still move around if you have too much on there. It's just like if you put 15 layers of paint on your wall and you come in the next day and you go like this, then you're probably going to wipe paint off of the wall because there's just too much for it to dry down, if that makes sense. So you want to do a nice thin layer. You only need about a pea-size amount of primer to do your entire face. If you have dry skin, you'll need a little bit more than that because your skin will really want to like suck in the primer, but you probably need just a pea-size amount. Put it on with your fingers. It's the best way to do it. Just make sure your hands are clean, and that will do the trick. Now, I will leave you with one more tip with the primers that is a fun tip that I learned a couple of years ago, and I love it. And that is freshening up your makeup with primer. So most people think to put their primer on in the beginning of the day or before you put on your makeup, and then boom, it's done, wear it throughout the day. But in reality, especially if you've had a tough day, or maybe you've been outside a little bit, you're sweating, or you've been stressed out and it's making you really oily, or whatever is happening, and your makeup just doesn't look 100 by the end of the day, what you can do is take a small brush. I usually take just I'm trying to see if I have one here. You can take just a little fluffy brush. I would say maybe something more on the synthetic bristle end of things, not as much with a natural bristle, and then just take a tiny bit of primer, put it on your hand, dab the brush in the primer, and then just gently buff out any imperfections on your face with the primer, and it's going to help blur and make everything look nice and fresh again. It's an awesome trick. It works really well. Do not use too much product, just a tiny bit will do, but it's an awesome trick that you will thank me later for. Well, I hope this was helpful. I hope, and that this gives you a little more guidance with finding a primer that works for you. It's so overwhelming with so many primers out there, but again, I'm going to say it over and over and over again. You can listen to me, or you can also just go out and try primers and see, or any product, and just see how it works for you, because everybody is going to be different. And I can't tell you what is going to be absolutely best for your skin. It's going to come down to actually experiencing the product and seeing how it works for you. I hope this was helpful. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out. And I will be back next week with another edition of You Ask and I Answer. Everybody stay safe and healthy, and I will see you soon.